Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am working on week 27 in my Project Life album, and I decided to pull out, this is the These Are the Days documenter kit from Studio Calico. So I grabbed that out because it kind of felt bright and colorful. I've had a bit of a kind of unintentional break from any sort of crafty activity for the last week or so. And so I felt like this would be a fun kit to play with getting back into Project Life. Spoiler alert, boy did I struggle. I don't know about you, if you've ever taken a kind of break from crafting, unintentional or intentional, like does it take you a while to get back into things? I just kind of felt like I was struggling. I was struggling to make decisions. I was struggling to make the kit work. It might have just been, I don't know, a bad coincidence maybe that none of the cards kind of really worked with the photos that I had, or I don't know, but there's a whole lot of indecision going on. So up until this point, I've literally just been trying to work out some cards to use. I haven't even got into the kind of embellishment of it all yet, just trying to not even trying to pick a color scheme. I'm literally just trying to pick one card at a time, and I'm sort of getting to this point. In the end, I did kind of try to tone it back a little bit with the color. I went and just got my pack of 4x6. It's kind of a ledger kind of card, I guess. I don't think they make them anymore. They were from scrapbook.com. They're just white. So I grabbed that out and swapped that out for the bottom right-hand card there, just to kind of tone back the color a little. I really loved that matching kind of ledger paper cards from the 3x4s. So I've used a couple of those. I am going to swap them around a bit so the colors kind of make sense and kind of go from there. But I mean, to tell you the truth, the struggle with this didn't get easier just because I've picked some cards. Then I kind of had to pick the embellishments, and the indecision just kind of went on and on and on. And I don't usually struggle this much, especially when I'm using a kit like this. One of the things I love about kits is they do kind of limit your decisions. And so it felt very uncomfortable, I've got to say. It felt very uncomfortable to feel so uncomfortable putting a layout together. In the end, I kind of like how it all turns out, but it definitely took me a whole lot longer than usual. So this video is a little bit longer than usual as well. In the end, I decided what I'm going to do is just start with one card at a time. So this is the card I started with. I used one of the little chipboard stickers. I did peel off a bunch of the sort of chipboard piece on the back. And then I mounted that on one of the labels. This kit has those kind of colored labels in it, and I love them, but there's some slightly unusual shapes in there that I tend to only use really plain kind of rectangular labels. So that one had a circle. It fit the chipboard really nicely, so it just added a little bit more color onto that card. And then I used some of the little star stamps from the stamp set in the kit and just kind of embellished that card. And I will say, at the end of this video, when I finished the layout, I turned the camera off and I decided, I'm going to add a few more of those stamps. So in the final photos at the end, you'll see I just went a little bit stamp crazy with those little star stamps. I love them, but I didn't actually film the process of it. Now, my only 3x4 photo on here, it had a coffee cup in it, so it seemed like the perfect place to stamp that happy place stamp. The black and white works really nicely too. It was a very early morning photo, so the lighting is terrible. I converted that to black and white. As with this photo here, it had some colors. The photo wasn't terrible, but it had some colors in the background that I just really didn't love. We were like next to a really ugly business sign. So I ended up turning that into black and white as well, just to get rid of those terrible colors. Now I'm using the alphas from the kit to spell out Lily because the little yellow sticker that I wanted to use, it says makes me laugh rather than make me laugh, I guess. Normally I would say you make me laugh, but it didn't make sense. So I put Lily makes me laugh and then stamped the little wow stamp on top of there. She gets very concerned when we all go out together and then Shane leaves the car. So that's her little concerned face. Why are we not all together? And then the last card, I did kind of swap it out. I still wanted the pink because we've got a lot of pink in here, but that darker pink I decided was, not that it was too dark, but that I wanted to do some stamping, some repeat stamping, and I figured that that would look better on the lighter color than on the darker color. But actually, this ink color is quite dark anyway, and I think it would have looked fine on the original pink card. I swapped it out, and I'm just doing a really super simple repeat stamp here, just straight up and down columns, filling in those tiny little gaps. That's a Catherine Pooler ink. I think it's called Party Dress. It stains your stamps something chronic. So now I've got a little pink stamp on my stamp set. I mean, it doesn't ruin the stamps in any way, but it slightly annoys me when my brand new stamps turn pink. Now the only embellishment I've done to there is add another little chipboard sticker. This one I didn't end up, it's quite thin. I didn't end up peeling any of that chipboard sort of backing off it. I've just stuck it in. It's not too close to the bottom of the card. Normally, if it's sort of in the middle, I don't really worry too much about the thickness of it. It's only when a chipboard's kind of near the bottom or near the side, anywhere where those joins in a pocket page are, I tend to kind of remove some of the thickness so that it doesn't bulge the pocket too much. Now, I really wanted to use this pink 4x6 card here, but it says Happy Summer, which is the exact opposite of what I'm dealing with at the moment. So all I did was use my paper trimmer and I just trimmed out the top and bottom of it. So I still get to use that pink. It's got a strip of white down the middle of it. I didn't use the back of a card. I just used a blank 4x6 card, and then I'm going to slip in another slice of a 3x4 card just to add a little bit of those cooler toned colors, the blues and kind of teal colors that I've used a lot through the rest of the spread as well, just to tie everything kind of back together. So this card's going to end up with all of the colors on it, and it stops it being too themey pink, I guess. So I'm stamping These Are the Days, and then I'm going to add another one of these little yellow phrase stickers in here. So you can see it just adds in all of those colors. I got really fanatic about this. I wanted to line the sticker up against one of the stripes in that cooler toned strip, but it really made very little difference at all. What I decided I could do though is, because the word summer doesn't ever actually touch the happy piece, I thought I could trim out the happy and use that kind of as an embellishment. I trimmed it out with the paper trimmer first, thinking I would just leave it sort of a rectangle shape, but I really didn't super love that. It's kind of one of those weird words that there's a lot of gaps down the bottom with the tails of the letters. And so I decided to fussy cut it. We all know I love fussy cutting so much, so that's how much it irritated me. I've actually gone ahead and skipped that. I don't make you watch me haphazardly try to fussy cut that out. And I'm going to layer this on the bottom of my photo here with another one of those labels. Again, just adding a little bit of color. So I've got that pink and teal in here again. And I'm going to do the same thing as the top photo. I am going to add one of these yellow stickers just to break that sameness. But I've done the same thing because I've adhered everything down before I kind of picked out the sticker. It's just not quite the right size. I wish the happy was just a little bit further over than it actually was. Now, my last card here, I'm going to do my journaling on. I just ran that through my typewriter, leaving a kind of gap on the right-hand side. And again, I didn't really have any permanent plans, any specific plans for that gap, other than I wanted to put something there so that there was something on this card. But because I haven't planned it, I didn't really know what size or shape that was going to be. I start by trimming down the sentiment from one of those 3x4 cards. It doesn't really work. And then I go back to my original plan, which was to just spell out the word highlights with these alphas, until I realized that even with both sheets of those alphas, I'm not going to have enough letters to do it. I didn't have enough H's. So I had to can that plan again. I'm going to go back to my original plan, which was to find a card to trim something out of to use that as an embellishment. And I end up picking this yellow one here that says more of this. I'm going to do the same thing basically as that Oh So Sweet card. It's just that the Oh So Sweet was a little bit too big. This is obviously much smaller, so I can make it fit into that gap. Just going to trim that down and then work out where it's going to sit before I trim off the right hand edge. I'm going to sit it in here kind of like a banner piece, so it is going to sort of fall off the edge of the card. It does look very plain on its own though, so I decided to use some of those alphas as well. Again, to kind of tie it in, like I've used them for that word lily, and then they're sitting there on their own. They haven't been used anywhere else. So it made sense to me to just add that little pop of teal in here. Then I've got the yellow, the green, and I am going to add another chipboard sticker in here. Yeah, it's not really the same kind of pink, it's more kind of red, but it gets those 3 colors in there. So I added that in the top left rather than that cluster, just because without the word highlight at the top there, it also felt a little bit empty. Now I end up going back to my title card. I've left it till last. That was probably another mistake since I'm feeling so indecisive this week as well. I mean, I had that polka dot card there, which I really loved. I just couldn't work out what I was going to do to it, really. In the end, what I decided to do was one of my kind of go-to favorite things to do, which is cluster some of these labels. I mean, obviously there's a ton of them in this pack to use, so I have no issues like not hoarding them, using them all up. Normally I kind of do a rainbow effect here, but these labels are all, like I said, they're strange sizes and they're quite large, and so I'm just going to kind of pile them on here down the left hand edge. Like I said, I didn't end up using that polka dot card. I did just swap that out for another one of these kind of generic ledger paper cards again. It's a shame they stopped making them because they're actually very handy for this sort of thing. I am trying to use all of the colors, well, not necessarily all of the colors of the labels, but all of the kind of colors that I've used in my actual spread, just to kind of balance that out a little bit. And then I'm going to trim them all off. These ones are a little bit different than usual in that some of them don't actually fall off the page. And I am going to add, I kept one of the little pieces of the pink, and I'm going to add that down the bottom because it felt a little bit empty down there. There wasn't a whole lot of layering gone on. And then I'm going to add these alphas back in. So luckily there are tons of E's on here, so I do have enough to spell out week. There are no numbers on this alpha sheet though, so I'm going to grab out the stamp set from Citrus Twist. I love it because it's got all of the numbers in multiple different fonts you can pick and choose. I'm going to use this little skinny font. I figured it contrasted nicely with those teal alphas. I am going to stamp it in black just so that there's a little bit of weight to this title card. Same thing with my date stamping. I could have done it on one of those labels, but in the end I decided just to stamp it straight onto the card. And finally, all finished. Although, as you can see here, not quite all finished. Like you can see the little stars I added into my title card, the card with Lily, and I did add a couple down the bottom as well. I love that wee sprinkling of them. It kind of pulled the whole thing together. Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!